First line is easy. Vadure mana shinananandana apayataranara vindare.
Vadure mana shinananandana apayataranara vindare.
Vadure mana shinananandana apayataranara.
Vajahure mana srinandanandana abhaya charanara vindare.
He's going to his mind. Mind is a friend of the enemy, but it's difficult to overcome the mind. So he's preaching to his mind. Go ahead. Oh mind.
O mind, just worship the lotus feet of the son of Nanda, which make one fearless.
Okay. Nice result you get. You worship Krishna, you become fearless. Go ahead.
Having obtained this rare human birth, cross over this ocean of worldly existence with the association of saintly persons.
Both in the day and at night I remain sleepless, suffering the pains of the heat and cold, the wind and the rain. For a fraction of flickering happiness I have uselessly served, wicked and miserly men.
What assurance of real happiness is there in all one's wealth, youthfulness, sons and family members? This life is tottering like a drop of water on a lotus petal. Therefore, you should always serve and worship the divine feet of Lord Hari.
It is the desire and great longing of Govinda Das to engage himself in the 9 processes of bhakti, namely hearing the glories of Lord Hari and chanting those glories, constantly remembering him and offering prayers to him, serving the Lord's lotus feet, serving the Supreme Lord as a servant, worshiping Him with flowers and incense and so forth, serving Him as a friend, and completely offering the Lord one's very self.
Jai Govinda Das. Jai Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari. Gopi Jana Bala Girivardhari. Oh, Gopi Jana Bala Girivardhari. Yashoda Nandana Rajana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Rajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari. I could use some water. Omigyana Timirandasya Janagana Salakayam Taksu Spiritam Jena Asmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Tapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Sa Parantikam Vandehom Shri Guru Shri Yata Barakamala Shri Guru Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagajatan Sagana Raganatan Vitam Sajivam Advaitam Sadvarutam Purijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karana Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Gaurangi Radhe Vinda Vineshwari Vishwabhanu Stuti Devi Pranamami Panchakalpa Tiruvascha Sindhu Sindhu Vaivacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We're reading from chapter 15, text 16. Yoga of the Supreme Person. This chapter is entitled Yoga of the Supreme Person, or Purushottama Yoga. Purushottama means the Supreme Person. Text 16. Dva imo parusham loke sharas chakrashara evacha shara sarvani bhutani kutasto shara uchite. Translation. There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. Purport. As already explained, the Lord in his incarnation as Vyasadeva compiled the Vedanta Sutra. Here the Lord is giving, in summary, the contents of the Vedanta Sutra. He says that the living entities, who are innumerable, can be divided into two classes, the fallible and the infallible. The living entities are eternally separated parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this important point, that the living entities, you and I, are like the particle of sun. They're coming from the sun, but they're not equal to the sun. Sun is great, and a particle of sunlight is small. So we're the small particles of God, eternally separated from Him. We have our own personality. We're all individuals. And we have different ways of doing things. And that can be celebrated. We're not like, where they give the example of cookie cutting. You get the same image. You cut the cookies, they all come out, like that. No, each one is an individual. And so we all have our own individual relationship with the Lord also. Someone may be a cowherd boy, someone may be a gopi, someone may be a mother or father. This is called rasa. But that will be revealed to us as we become pure. We don't have to search after rasa. It's already there. But it has to be uncovered by the purificatory process of chanting Hare Krishna and following the rules and regulations. Then it'll be revealed to us who we are, what is our natural propensity. But we're all different. At the same time, we're one in the sense that we're all servants of Krishna. And therefore, it's advised that we should appreciate each other. Oh, he's serving in that way very nicely. I don't know how to serve like that. So we appreciate. And everybody has a room there at the lotus feet of the Lord. There's no shortage of room. We're in the material world. We're competing. Somebody else gets ahead of us. We don't like it. We push them aside. We want to be first. But it's not like that in the spiritual world. Everyone loves God. And like Christ said, your neighbor as yourself. Good injunction. Like, love your neighbor as yourself. But first, put God in the center. So that's what we're doing. By chanting Hare Krishna, we're trying to practically put God in the center. By keeping the deity here, we bow down, we offer food to the deity. So we're keeping the deity in the center. We're keeping the holy name in the center. Okay, where was I? Those are in oneness. When they are in contact with material world, they are called jiva bhuta, or fallible. The Sanskrit word given here, shara, sarvani bhutani, means that they are fallible. Those who are in the oneness with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, are called infallible. So that oneness means in harmony with the will. Christ also said, thy will be done. So God has a will and we have a will also. So now we're acting whimsically for a sense gratification. But if we use our free will to follow the direction of the Lord, then we become perfect. Then we become infallible. Not that we become equal to God, but we become infallible. Oneness does not mean they have no individuality, but there is disunity. But there is no disunity. They are all agreeable to the purpose of creation. Of course, in the spiritual world, there's no such thing as creation. But since the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as stated in the Vedanta Sutra, is the source of emanations, that conception is explained. Okay, any questions so far? There's a lot of philosophy here.
So I was just wondering, might be a kind of silly question, but could you explain a little bit about the conception that Prabhupada is talking about when he's saying that that there's no such thing as creation for the spiritual world?
Because this thing is creation for the spiritual world because it exists eternally. The problem is our mind can't get its hand around eternity because we're conditioned to think of beginning and an end, and everything is, so it's a little hard but why not? Why not eternity? We can think of eternity in the future, but it's hard to think of eternity behind us. But why not? There's a symbol, right? It's going around and back and coming back again. It's a symbol of eternity. It's always existed. Anybody can add further to that? You're satisfied? Sort of. No, it's a hard conception. Okay. According to the statement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, there are two classes of living entities. The Vedas give evidence of this, so there is no doubt about it. The living entities who are struggling in this world with the mind and the five senses have their material bodies, which are changing. As long as a living entity is conditioned, his body changes due to contact with matter. Matter is changing, so the living entity appears to be changing. But in the spiritual world, the body is not made of matter. Therefore, there is no change. In the material world, the living entity undergoes 6 changes: birth, growth, duration, reproduction, then dwindling and vanishing. These are the 6 changes of the material body. But in the spiritual world, the body does not change. There is no old age. There is no birth. There is no death. There, all exists in oneness. Shara Savani Bhutani. Any living entity who has come in contact with matter, beginning from the first created being, Brahma, down to the small ant, is changing its body. Therefore, they are called fallible. In the spiritual world, however, they are always liberated in oneness. But it's also possible to become infallible while you're in the material world. Prabhupada did that. Or sometimes the infallible living entities are sent to the material world for a mission. Like Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, he was called by Bhakti Vinod Thakur. He called Lord Chaitanya, please send one of your representatives to help me, because I want to start this mission. Lord Chaitanya's mission, he wanted to start it in the material world. So he needed help. So Krishna sent Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So from the very beginning, he was already liberated. He was without any defect. Doesn't mean he was God. He's a living entity, but he was perfectly in harmony with God. So we can also come to that stage of perfection. This is called Bhakti Yoga. If yoga means, another word for yoga means to link or to join together. And the Greeks take that word yoga and they make the word yoke. They yoke the oxen. They join it to the oxen to the cart. So Sanskrit is the original word, yoga, or means to join. So now it means we're separated now. We want to join. So Bhakti Yoga joins us to the Lord in love. Therefore, it's the highest devotional service, the highest conception. Okay. Do you have any questions? I don't mind. No. I lost the place though. We finished the paragraph? Yeah, okay. That's right. So the paragraph is finished. Then we'll go to the next paragraph. Well, that's the end. Okay, let's go to the next verse because they do all connect. Fallible and infallible. And then what other class is there besides the fallible and infallible? The next verse will tell us. Uttama Purushastvanya Paramatmeti Udaritaha Yoloka Traya Avishya Vibhartya Avyaya Ishvaraha. Translation: besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Super Soul, Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the 3 worlds and is maintaining them. So the 3, the Lord, and of course the matter is there also. Matter is also the energy of the Lord, but it has no consciousness. Dead stone. Whereas a puppy dog has consciousness because the soul is there. So we have to make distinction. This is real theology to understand. Not that everything is one or there's duality and the devil has his own energy source. No, this is an insult to God to think there's something outside of God with his own power Because there's two gods. No, there's one God. But the demons are here. Yeah, Hiranyakashipu was a big demon. Ravana. They're often killed by the Lord, but they don't get their power outside of the Lord. They get the power to defy God from God because He gives us free will. If you want to misuse your free will and are determined to put yourself in the center, then you become demoniac. And we're all pretty much born in that way. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. We're born with what? A false ego. The baby is crying. He doesn't care. I'm flying in a plane a lot. The child doesn't care if he's disturbing 50 people. If he feels that he needs to cry, he'll cry. You try to reason with him, it's not possible. So this is who we are. We're the child. But we get civilized by our parents, civilized by the school, civilized. You can't beat your brother, no, just because you're bigger than him. So this is called civilization. But you see, they're not so civilized. Especially in Kali Yuga, practically nobody is civilized. Therefore, Muhammad came and told him, don't have sex with your mother. This is one of the first injunctions in the Quran. So we can see he was trying to do reform work. Prabhupada has respect for him. But he's not God. And his method of preaching was not welcome either. He's preaching to kill if you don't agree. No, that's not. Lord Chaitanya's movement says he's inviting us to take part, but he's not. Don't take part. Material nature will kill us. God doesn't have to kill us. We're already in the land of death. So we should become eager and patient at the same time. Eager to find God and patient. God works in mysterious ways. There's a verse like that, right? In the Bible or someplace. His work to be performed. Anyway, we can't always figure out God. But if we're open to His inspiration, revelation, then we can see everything's coming is for our purification. We need that kind of tough love sometimes to get us out of the Maya. So this we should take. We can learn from our mistakes. And then we become stronger. And that kind of learning is very, very valuable because we won't forget it so easy. We learn the hard way. We're being beaten. Okay, then don't do it again, Baba. Avoid your nonsense. Okay, where are we then? The next verse, right? Purport. So Krishna is different. He's maintaining. He's independent. We're dependent. Nicho Nichanam Chaitanam Chaitanam. There are two eternals. One is independent. That's Krishna. And the other is dependent. That's the living entities. We have to admit that we're dependent. If there's no supply of air, what is our position? We're sitting here comfortably talking philosophy. But if we're dependent on the air, we're dependent on the sun for the heat. We're dependent on so many things. If we don't get food. So this is our conditioned state. But we can become fully dependent on the Lord. Then the Lord will be with us at every step. He's with us already as Super Soul, but we don't always hear Him. But as we purify ourselves, then it'll be clear that He's helping us at every step. Report. The idea of this verse is very nicely expressed in the Katha Upanishad 2.2.13 and the Svetesvatara Upanishad 6.13. It is clearly stated there that the above innumerable living entities, some of whom are conditioned and some of whom are liberated, there above them is there the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is Paramatma. So He's in our heart. The example is given of two birds on a tree. One is witnessing and the other is eating the fruit. So we're the eating bird. We're enjoying this world. We're suffering. We're getting the result of our work. But the Lord is just witnessing. He's in our heart. Paramatma, our friend. And if we turn to him, he'll help us. But generally, we don't turn to him. We think we know best. We think we can figure things out by ourselves, that we're okay. But that's in Maya. Maya means that which is not. No, you're not okay. You're going to death. Every heartbeat means you have one less heartbeat. You're coming to the point of no more heartbeats. So how do you say you're okay? Nobody wants to die, but we are going to die. That's the fact. Then what happened? Oh, nobody knows, they said. We know because we get the knowledge from the right source. The Upanishadic verse runs as follows. Nicho, Nichanam, Chaitanam, Chaitananam. The purport is that amongst all the living entities, both conditioned and liberated, there is one supreme living personality, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who maintains them and gives them all facilities for enjoyment according to different work. That Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in everyone's heart as Paramatma. A wise man who can understand him is eligible to attain perfect peace and not others. So we saw Srila Prabhupada was perfectly peaceful. Whenever you approached him any which way, he was always joyful underneath. He was confident and enthusiastic, so enthusiastic for an old man. And he had the enthusiasm of a young man, but he was like a young man. He was coming to the new project. Nobody had ever done it before. Tried to spread this message in the Western world. Okay, one more I was going to do. Text 18. Yasmat shararam atitoham aksharad api kotamaha atosmi loka vedecha patita purushottamaha. Because I, Krishna speaking, because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that Supreme Person. So again, Krishna is telling us so clearly that he's the Supreme Person. Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachitananda Vigraha, Anadi Adi Govinda, Sarva Karna Karnam. He's the cause of all causes. He has a spiritual body. He's eternal, blissful, full of knowledge. So this is Krishna. There's so much description of him. And now here he's describing himself. Either he's the biggest egotist or he's actually God. We have to decide. Then we can get value from the Bhagavad Gita because it's not a book of speculation. It's spoken by the Lord himself. So it's absolute truth. These verses are true. Nothing manufactured or speculated. Whereas which we get from the mundane philosophers. There's so many books on philosophy. And each one has a different twist. Nobody wants to be a student of Spinoza. He wrote his own book with a little different idea. And then you go in the library, there's hundreds of books on philosophy. But philosophy is one. And here it's being explained by Krishna. But why not study Krishna's words instead of speculating? For what? No one can surpass the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, neither the conditioned soul nor the liberated soul. He is therefore the greatest of personalities. Now it is clear here that the living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are individuals. Again, it's an important point because people will say, no, everything is one, or we're all God. It's all one. No, we're individuals. Krishna is an individual, and so are we. The difference is that the living entity, either in the conditioned state or in the liberated state, cannot surpass in quantity the inconceivable potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is incorrect to think that the Supreme Lord and the living entities are as being on the same level or equal to all in all respects. There is always the question of superiority and inferiority between their personality. The word Uttama is very significant. No one can surpass the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But this is a very simple point, but people don't accept it. Big scholars. Now, I was going to one of those people, a yogi, big yogi, and he was preaching like that. He was giving the example of a bubble on the ocean. The bubble breaks and becomes one with the ocean. We have to give up our ego and become one with everything. And then we won't exist anymore as individuals. We'll be one. Then we'll be happy. So it's an attractive idea. I can be happy just by letting my bubble break. But no, it's like the Chinese philosophy. You have a headache, and so you cut off your head. And there's no more headache. So the ego is a problem. The Buddhists understand that. So they say, make it zero. Remove the ego. But no, we say there's a real ego. If there's a false ego, why not a real ego? A positive identity. Yes, we have a positive identity. We're servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord who's serving in, being served by the gopis in Vrindavan. This is an identity. We have an identity. Identity means ego. So not that we lose our identity, we lose our false identity. That may take some time. Therefore, it's a gradual process. You should be patient. Rupa Goswami says, enthusiastic and patient. Because enthusiastic, it may become enthusiastic for sex life. So that kind of enthusiasm has to be given up. And Krishna will help us. He'll help us to see that the positive, Paramjistanavartate, we get a higher taste by chanting Hare Krishna. And he'll help us by smashing us on the other side. His agent Maya is also some kind of mercy. That's why we say there's no devil. No, Maya is an agent of the Lord, and she's sometimes smashing us. You rascal, you think you're independent? You think you're envious of God? We see you're envious of God. You want to be the enjoyer? So then we have to learn the hard way. But we should learn at least that we're not meant to be the enjoyer. But it's not an easy lesson. Because since time immemorial, like you give a child a sweet, immediately goes in the mouth. But he doesn't think, I should offer this. No. We've been like this since time immemorial. Me, put myself in the center. But now, we should patiently learn the real philosophy, that God is in the center. And if we put him in the center, we'll be happy. Otherwise, we'll always feel frustrated because we can't really be the enjoyer. It's like the hand. We give the example, right? The hand is meant to serve the whole body. If the hand starts thinking, no, I'm tired of serving, I'm going to eat the food myself instead of giving to the mouth gets all the fun. I have to just serve. But the hand is not equipped to enjoy the food. Similarly, we're not equipped to be the enjoyer. But we think we are. That's called Maya. No, we're not. We're equipped to be the servant of the servant of the servant. And that's a joyful position, eternal and full of knowledge. But we want to go jump ahead and be the Lord himself. We're envious of him. Why should Krishna have all the pleasure? What about me? So when we think like that, then okay, here, you can come to the material. You can imagine you're in the center. Hitler is thinking, and the Trump and Putin, all these people are cuckoo. They think they're in the center and their extension, right? I want to be in the center, but because I love Mother Russia. It's just extended selfishness. What about the other living entities? No, they should be under my feet. Therefore, the beginning of spiritual life, samasarvesu bhutesu. We see every living entity as a particle of God. We shouldn't be cruel even to a dog or even an insect. Try to get it on. Probably there was an insect in the temple like this. And Prabhupada got it to the window and then he said, there, free, go wherever you like. He got him out. That's okay. But another time, the devotees were, ants had come on Prabhupada's desk because there was honey or something. And so the devotees were coming and they were taking the ants out, you know. And Prabhupada said, before you would just smash them. He knew our nature. To smash them, step on the ants, why not? But now we think, wait a minute, there's a soul there. So we should be cautious. We're dealing with living entities. It means the soul is there, and the super soul. Okay? You have another? Did I finish this purport? I just want to check. No, I didn't finish it, but go ahead.
Can you hear me? Can you hear? Can you hear?
I said this, I can't follow. But go ahead, Ryan. Please start.
Can you hear?
1 second, Maharaj. I can
Can
hear
you
you.
hear?
Not yet, not yet. Okay.
Now?
Okay, Maharaj, we should be able to hear you.
You can hear me?
Can you give him a thumbs up? Can you give him a thumbs up?
Okay, I understand. Thank you. Nice points Maharaj is making. So the point is that people nowadays, not just nowadays, but all the time, so many people claim to be God. And he's supposed to be a sane person. He's claiming he's God. So, what is the meaning of God? Maybe someone can tell you what I said. Anyone?
Marsh, could you repeat yourself? We didn't hear it too well.
Okay. So, people now, in this time, not only this time, but all time, sometimes people say they're God. And they're claiming to be a sane person. But how could a sane person claim he's God? What qualities of God does he have? He's not all powerful. He cannot stop even a toothache if he has a toothache. What kind of God is that?
Get wrinkly and become invalid and die. That means there's something greater than him. He doesn't want to die. He doesn't want to get old. But nature is higher than him. Who can say that they're stronger than nature? That they can stop a hurricane or something? No. Nature is stronger than us. We have to obey her laws. And even then, even we obey, we'll still be kicked out. So what kind of God is that? That's a good point, Raj. Thank you. I got a couple more paragraphs. Just let me just finish this, then we can discuss more. The word loke signifies in the Purusha Agama, the Smriti scriptures, as confirmed in the Niruka dictionary, Lokyate Vedarto Nena. The purpose of the Vedas is explained by the Smriti scriptures. The Supreme Lord, in his localized aspect of Paramatma, is also described in the Vedas themselves. The following verse appears in the Vedas, Chandogya Upanishad 8.12.3. Tavyad Esha Samprasado Smachcharat Samutaya Pavim Yoti Rupam Sampadaya Svena Rupena Vinaspadayate Sa Uttama Purusha. The Supreme Soul coming out of the body enters the impersonal Brahmajyoti. Then in his form, he remains in his spiritual identity. The Supreme is called the Supreme Personality. This means that the Supreme Personality is exhibiting and diffusing his spiritual effulgence, which is the ultimate illumination. That Supreme Personality, who has a localized aspect as Paramatma, by incarnating himself as the son of Satyavati and Parasaraya, he explained the Vedic knowledge as Vyasadeva. So again, Prabhupada is defeating the idea that God can be manufactured in the factory of your brain. No. The definition of God, even given in the Karmi dictionary, it means the supreme being. No one is equal to or greater than. But that's a good definition. No one is equal to Krishna or greater than him. Even Vishnu and Rama and Shiva. But Krishna is Ishvara Parama. He's the supreme personality. Jai Shri Krishna. The Gujaratis say, Jai Shri Krishna.
So when you're referring to God, are you referring to Krishna as God, or is Krishna and God two different beings?
God is a title, just like the president. President. But the president is Trump. If you know him better, then you know it's not just a. So God is the general definition, supreme being, but we have a lot of information about him. He gives it himself, just like he's doing here. Telling no one is equal to me or greater than me, and you should worship me. Throughout the Gita, Krishna is saying that. Tesham saratayuktanam bhajatam piti purvakam. Tadami buddhi. You worship me and I'll give you the intelligence. You can come to me. This is throughout the Gita, Krishna is telling us that he's God and he can help us. So yeah, we're referring to Krishna. Anyone else? Yes. Give him the microphone.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for a nice class. Regarding the description you gave about the two birds and the tree, we also hear, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Herdashardjana Tishtati, that he's in the hearts of all living entities. He's directing their wanderings as they're seated as like a machine made of material nature. So he's within our hearts. He's actually the doer. Krishna is the doer. We hear this in the Bhagavad Gita. So this example of the two birds in the one tree, where, we're possessing the results of our actions and suffering as a result.
So this is a comment.
This is a question. So how can we reconcile the two? Because Krishna is the doer, but
we desire. The adjustment is Krishna fulfills our desire. So he ultimately he's the doer. He gives you what you want, but desire is in your hand. You desire to get out of Maya, you can. You desire to please Krishna, you can. Krishna doesn't take that desire from you. It's in your hand. As a little jiva soul, you have the quality of desire. Then you say, man proposes and God disposes. So you desire, but it doesn't happen right away. You have to get the mercy of the Lord ultimately for it to happen. So he does the work in that sense. But you desire. I don't see any difficulty there.
Thank you. That's very clear.
Anyone else?
How do we cultivate the desire to please Krishna?
Yeah, by associating with those who are pleasing Krishna. Especially the pure devotees. One moment's association with them can change our life. So we should keep association. Then we'll see that they're happy by serving God. I should continue serve God and not fall victim to illusion. But even we do fall victim, we can pick ourselves up. A baby learning how to walk, they fall down, but they don't get discouraged. They get right up and keep walking. So we may have some fall down, but don't give up your goal. The goal is there, Krishna. We set out the goal. So maybe we stumble on the way, but the goal is still there. And he's inviting us. He's playing a flute. Yes, come. Come and enjoy with me. He's not taking pleasure in seeing us suffer. Just the opposite. He's coming himself to try to help us out of this suffering condition. Speaking Bhagavad Gita, sending his representative. So he's happy if we turn to him. Why not do it? Nothing's checking us. Again, it's our desire. If our desire is there, who can stop it? Just like Hiranyakashipu. He desired to hate Krishna because Krishna or Vishnu killed his brother. So he always thought of Vishnu as an enemy. And Prahlad was a pure devotee. He tried to preach to his father. This is you should worship Krishna. Why are you against God? But the father couldn't hear it. He didn't have any desire to please Krishna or to appreciate him. And from the other side, so much attempt was there to check Prahlad's devotion, but they couldn't check it. So nobody can stop you from being a devotee, and nobody can force you to be a devotee. We can plead with a straw in our mouth. Please, be a devotee. I remember when I was first coming, the temple president had a son, 5 years old. And I used to play with him. I was happy to be with him, innocent child. And sometimes he said to me, please be a devotee, please be a devotee. And it touched my heart. I said, this child wants me to be a devotee. And it helped me to become a devotee because if he was so sincere. Okay, anyone else?
Maharaj, we accept that A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada as the greatest representative of God or Krishna. And at the same time, his humility was absolutely amazing. So it's a true, as we hear from Bhagavad Gita, that Krishna is the greatest personality. Is it true that Krishna is also the most humble personality?
Yeah. Yes, he is. He thinks that Uddhava is more advanced than him. You know, in the rasa, he thinks sometimes how he's controlled by the gopis. He's controlled by the elderly gopis. They're clapping their hand, baby Krishna, 2 or 3 years old, and they're moving like this, and he's moving according to their movement. He's allowing them to control him. You have to be humble to do that. If you were puffed up, don't tell me I'm God. Who are you? Try to influence me. No, he was very humble, Krishna. You had a question?
So, Maharaj, in text 18, translation, it is given that because Lord is transcendental, beyond fallible and infallible, so does it refer to the fact that as living entities, we are under duality wherein we we fall down at times and then we rise? So is it discussed in that context? Like, how does being transcendental differ from being infallible?
Could you translate for me?
Yeah. So how? See, yeah, the same.
Yeah. So if we come to the transcendental platform, then we don't make mistakes. That's true. So what's the point?
So the question is, Maharaj, how does being transcendental differ from being infallible?
Say again.
So in the verse, Krishna says, because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible.
Yeah. So what doesn't mean the infallible aren't transcendental also.
So he's asking, is there a difference between being infallible? Because Krishna is saying he's beyond the infallible and the fallible.
Yeah, because there's two. He's transcendental to both of them.
So transcendental is higher than being infallible even. Because we would say God is infallible.
His quantity of transcendence is greater. We're talking about the living entity. They're transcendental, but Krishna is in everyone's heart. He's God. He's a different category. God is great. We're small. I don't see any contradiction here. Because I am transcendental beyond. So he's beyond us. Even we're transcendental also, but his transcendence is greater quantity than ours. He can see in everyone's heart. Can you see in my heart? No, but he can. So he's transcendental, but of a different quantity. Anyone else?
Yeah, we can also be transcendental.
Okay, we'll stop here. And let Maharaj wants to make another comment.
Like Maharaj was saying, we want to be transcendental. We are also transcendental, the living entities, like the Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi.
1 second, Maharaj. I'll give you the thumbs up when we're ready.
Okay. Would you like to make a comment, Maharaj?
Yes. Just like the living entity is also transcendental. The Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, he can say he's Brahman. But the Para-Brahman is the Supreme Lord. Only he can say that. That's the point of this verse, is that Krishna is showing that there are other living entities who are equal with him in quality, but not in quantity. Quantity, he's a single one. Eko Bahunam Yo Vijdati Kaman. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Sri Vikram Maharaj ki jai.
His
All the
Holiness,
assembled devotees.
His Holiness Danavir Maharaj ki jai.